for the kill, the breeze come freeze up, straight dropping the chills. I'm talking taking over pieces and shares. A bomb break sky high, check the movement is here. Yeah, it's one heart, one shot. Now the future is yours. Go. Turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the balls in the brakes. I'm talking one chance at best, yes. Painting pictures for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Flip the cover with the drummer, passion never rests. Freedom is our teacher under pressure, now we blessed. See, I was so good for the go. There's one art, one shot, now the future is yours. Go! Yeah. It's one art, one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Well, what's up, man? Evening.
What is going on, Paul?
You know, just another week in paradise here. Especially since you're coming to Florida this week. I have something to look forward to this weekend significantly.
Yeah. It's cold here today. Like today, I every year as a Minnesotan, you get to this point where you just say like, you just almost scream at yourself and say, why the hell do I still live here? Every year. It's so cold. And everyone always says like, oh, you don't want to move to like from Minnesota. Everyone says you don't want to move to Florida. Like it's too hot there in the summer. And I'm just like, I will take the extra like 10 degrees warmer that it is in the summer to not live in negative 10 degree weather. Like, and then when you get wind down in Minnesota, it's just, it's awful. It's so cold.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The like 1 minute walk into my work in a parking ramp, you're just like freezing and just like get inside. I hate it. So I'm going to take a weekend vacation and we're going to come down to Florida and come visit you, Paul.
When I got the call this week, I was like, heck yes. Good. Yes. Fantastic. Ooh, clean that lens off.
So yeah, I noticed the other day at work that I had Monday and Tuesday off. So naturally I pulled up the kayak app, that kayak.com app.
Right.
This isn't sponsored by them, but on that app, if you are on your phone, you can type in like where you're leaving from, when you want to go. You can tap anywhere as the location you want to go. And it'll just bring up a map with all the different locations and the prices of everything. So it's just like, you can kind of quickly go, it's like $60 to go to San Fran. We're going to San Fran this week, so unfortunately for me, Florida was one of the cheap ones. So it's a little bit deceiving sometimes when they have those Spirit airline prices in there, but we got some pretty good deals on flying out to Florida for the weekend. So
it's always cheaper to fly to Florida because it's that, everybody wants to go to Disney in Orlando. So usually flying into Orlando, you can get some pretty affordable pricing. And it works great for me, especially when I'm traveling, because I obviously got to come back home. And I would say most of the time, my more expensive flight is going out of Orlando to somewhere else. But coming home, it's always fairly cheap. But
see, that's the opposite for me. Like, it's always cheap to go somewhere from Minnesota. It depends on what airline, too. Like, I always get these, like, Sun Country notifications. It's like $29 flights to, and then they name all these places. And then you're like, oh, yeah, sweet, I'm going to do that. And then you look at the returns, you're like, it's like $300 to come back to Minnesota or
right
somewhere else. So it's almost kind of like it's not worth that. But so anyways, in today's live stream, we're going to talk about traveling clearly because I'm going to come down to Florida. I got to pack all this crap to come down to Florida because we're going to film some videos while we're down there. So I got to figure out what I want to pack. Keeping in mind that I don't want to bring a suitcase with me because I don't want to pay that baggage fee for airlines because no one wants to pay that baggage fee.
Plus,
No, I
you
gotta
don't
figure out.
when you get there, you don't want to have to wait around for your. It's just so nice to be able to walk off the plane and walk straight to the pickup lounge and get your Uber ride or Paul pick you up. But
Yep. So it's one of those. It's one of those things that's just. We need to figure out what I want to bring, what I'm going to need to bring, how I'm going to bring it with, and we're going to kind of go over things like maybe just recommend if you guys are traveling as like videographers and photographers, what should you bring? What I recommend bringing, stuff like that. So we're gonna go over that little list here. I'm still trying to get used to this app that we're using too on Restream to figure out the best way to um, find who's talking, because right now we're running this again. Once again, we're running this live stream on both of our channels at the same, like
exactly.
simultaneously. So all the comments that are coming in from either of them are going to be. I don't really know how we know that again. Do you remember
Yeah. You just well, I don't think we can tell on
how they
where
come
they're
in?
coming from. We can see all the chats, but I have my stream open on off the side if I want to know if they're
Okay,
from my channel or not. So
so that's maybe something I should do too. Um, so anyways, that's what we're gonna do today, to Paul. So what
yeah,
what do you thoughts?
let's jump right into backpacks because that's. I mean, if you're going to travel anywhere, you're going to need to know backpacks. And also, if you guys, if
There's
you're hearing you
such a
have
delay on
questions,
that.
if you're hearing you have questions, feel free to shoot them in the comments because we'll answer anything. Give you any like suggestions specifically to your needs, or you just have some more in-depth questions about anything that we're talking about. Feel free to hit us up. And if it's not even travel related, sure, hit it up. We'll talk. We know this is an easy way to just get questions answered. It's just
Yeah. Well, Paul, first off, I mean, I also want to mention, Paul, too, that the reason I also want to do this video as like a live stream, because I like having to like back and forth with everyone that's in the comments, but I always overpack the crap out of my bag. I bring the kitchen sink with me, and I end up regretting usually carrying it on my back for the whole, like in our case, it's gonna be 4 days. Granted, I can leave like half the stuff at your house, but like normally when you're in a hotel, like you don't want to be leaving your gear in the hotel, and that's just a bad things happen with break-ins and theft and whatever. So whatever you're bringing with you, usually you want to be carrying with you. So a lot of this stuff is going to be kind of in mindfulness of like having this stuff with you at all times too. So
right.
so sorry, I'm just looking to see whose channel am I got here. Okay, it's mine. So anyways, let's start with this delay. So travel backpacks. Paul, you want to start this one?
Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of this bag. Now, the funny part was I don't usually. This is my This is a good everyday carry and a travel bag, and I've been using typically. There's two bags I like to use for travel. It depends on how much I want to carry, and this bag fits perfectly under a chair. This is the PGY Tech One Mo. It's a One reason why I love it is because, well, the inside of this bag is probably the best color in the entire world. It's like a green, but it's a 25-liter bag. So if you want something that's like not huge and you can carry enough stuff, you're probably not going to carry too much clothes in this thing. But I do like the size of it for staying somewhat light, and it fits really well underneath the chairs of even when this thing is packed up. It fits really well underneath the chairs in the airplanes. So it's got like two main compartments. So you have all your cameras, your lenses on this side, and then this side is like a big wide open compartment, and it comes with another small little camera bag. So this is just dropped this all over the place. What I like about this is you can get to your location and just put your camera and a lens in here, or your camera with your 24 to 7D lens, and maybe like slide a drone, like a small mini drone in here as well. It's just really versatile. And top part expands too. So if you wanted to even store something above that section and have it a little bit taller, you can do that. So that it's just nice that it comes with this. And if you're not using, if you're just traveling or whatever, if you're just, did you just mess me up?
Yeah, no, I did. I'm screwing with the settings, Paul. It's not working.
He doesn't know what he's doing here, people. Anyway, so he why are you not showing? Oh, did you solo me?
I'm trying to not solo myself, and it's not working. I did something wrong, Paul. We'll let you do it later.
Anyway, so this bag is great for carrying a drone in it. So if you want to have like your camera stuff in that one side, and then this can carry your drone. So I really, really love this bag. The thing is, it is a 25-liter bag. So it's a little bit smaller. That's why I like it for my daily carry, and then for like light travel. If you're doing extended travel, you're probably going to want something bigger. And I don't have it near me right now, but I love the Provoke 31 liter from Wandered, and you can get a number of different size camera cubes. And I like the Plus because it takes up most of the bottom, and then you still have the top layer with the roll top to like shove clothes in or whatever. And that's typically what I do. They also have like a gigantic one that fits the entire bag, and then you just have a really, really small section of the roll top that can expand if you want to, but you don't have any room above it. So but I really like that bag. I'm going to try to fix this for you. But yes, so that's a huge plus. I like those. Those are my two favorite bags, and one has green interior and the other one comes in green. So I don't know. Green's my jam. But we're trying to get you. What did you do to yourself? I can't.
I hit the arrow, and every time now I hit the arrow, it just switches back and forth between me and you. So I don't know what I did.
Oh, that's what you did. Okay, I see that.
So okay, maybe that just means we're soloing then. Okay.
Yes. So you just got to make sure you hit the arrow again on the same person.
This is me being producer Paul, basically getting fired. So
you're getting fired. Oh gosh.
So I have two main bags that I use. Well, actually three, but one I kind of stopped using. One is really good just as a travel bag if you're carrying like mostly clothes and stuff. But if I'm going over for somewhere like 4 or 5 days, like where we're going, I'm probably going to be bringing the Peter Mckinnon Nomadic backpack. This is the first edition one. I kind of wish I had the second one now because it is a smaller bag. This is a very like crazy deluxe bag that gets a little ridiculous at times. Sorry, I'm just trying to not hit my mouse here.
And isn't it also very heavy just by itself?
So this right now is like 6 pounds empty. So it's a heavy backpack when it's empty, and when this thing's full, and like I said before, when you carry a bunch of clothes and like every piece of equipment I carry that can fit in here, this thing has been like 30 pounds before, and it just sucks to walk around. Like, if we go to Disney, Paul, I'm going to be carrying a 30-pound backpack. No, we're not going to do that. So that's what's kind of cool about this. When I originally got this bag, I didn't get the like second bag that goes inside of this. Instead, I just carried like a roll-up JanSport bag that I could carry like small things for. But this thing is like a crazy deluxe backpack. It's got like, your side access door. It's got all the stuff you can put in the front. Straps are super comfortable. But the cool thing is that inside the bag, it's all laid out like a camera bag. You got all these sections to put stuff. And you could fit like 4 days of clothes. But what it's cool about it is it's got this secondary case, just like yours, Paul, where you can take it out. And this is kind of a little different than yours, though, I think. Oh, that's the wrong one. This one, and I'm sure people already know what this bag is. I'm not going to go into crazy detail, but you can put like your camera in here with a lens and like maybe the Rode Video Micro or a small mic. I would put just like fragile stuff in here. And the reason by that is because you can put your camera in there, and then on this other spot, this thing opens up to a like day pack. So now you have another backpack that looks wrinkled all the time because it is. And you can put all your extra crap up here. Like if we go to Disney, Paul, and I buy like, a Star Wars costume or something, I can put it up here and still carry all my stuff. So this thing's going to be very nice. I have brought this on a couple trips now and liked having that smaller bag where a lot of times like you're going to go out and you're going to go do like one thing and you only need like one piece of equipment. So it's kind of nice to have something like this. So you have that option for a smaller bag. Now, if you, let me grab this other one here. Right now, though, by the way, if you guys look around, those Nomadic Peter Mckinnon like edition ones, I think even Nomadic like sells them they're cheaper now than they used to be. Sorry, they're less expensive than they used to be.
About to say, I don't know about that.
You could definitely find some used ones floating around now and then too on different places, but they are super, super durable and pretty weatherproof. But the backpack that I use a lot now is this Hex Bag, and this was actually recommended to me by Gene, Potato Jet. This is kind of the one he was using all the time, and I looked at it, and it's weird that this little tiny bag can literally hold almost the same amount of gear that Peter Mckinnon bag can hold. But the downside is I can't put clothes in it. If I put clothes in there, I have to put it on the top back layer and just make it fit, or like stuff clothes in the front pocket where you put the laptop and stuff like that.
Right, that's rough.
So it depends on what you're bringing. You know, like when we came to Florida last time, I just brought like an underwear, socks, and like one extra shirt, and that's all I really needed. Because if anybody knows me, I'm probably gonna wear the same shirt for 3 days straight, anyways, on vacation. Which is funny because like how many times, Paul, have you packed like a week's worth of clothes to go to vacation, and then you get there and you just like wear one shirt anyways? So
right.
Especially for like when we went to Mexico, I'm hanging by the pool most of the time. So anyways, this backpack is like a clamshell. It opens up from the back. It does have a spot on top. You can pop the camera out, which is nice. But this thing is like a really cool bag, and it's got a lot of sections, and you can put all your lenses in there, your microphones. I've actually fit my entire travel tripod over on the side. It's got a lot of pouches. You can put all your stuff in here, and it fits well. You can put a laptop in here. And I have like 2 videos if you guys want to check out like backpacks. I think you got a video on your backpack, Paul, right?
I do, yes.
So if you guys want to know more information, just go check those out. You got one on yours and I got 2 on mine, but this Hex Bag is only like $170. So it's not bad, but it's really comfortable. And like you saw it, Paul, when I came there last time, you can fit a ton of stuff in this thing.
Yeah.
And it's small. And like when we were getting on Disney rides and stuff, like I needed something like this, not that big bag. So
what are you gonna be bringing with you to Orlando this time?
I haven't decided yet, Paul. I'm thinking because I can stay, like we're gonna be at your house at first, like I'm probably just gonna bring whatever I need to bring and then condense down for when we go to anywhere. So because I just don't need to like bring it as like a suitcase in a weird way. But so
Deontay asks what preferred camera backpacks and slings. I mean, we went over it just quickly. Pretty much my go-to is for light stuff is the PGY Tech 1Mo. I love it. It has a little bag. It comes with it. And then if I need something bigger, I like the Wandered Provoke 31 liter with the plus camera cube inside of it. And then Kyle here likes for big stuff the Peter Mckinnon bag, and like he just went over the Hex Bag. So and a lot of these the bags, they come with enough dividers and inside of them, so you
basically bring what you need to bring to fit your stuff and don't overpack. That's like I always overpack, and that's why we'll get to it. I got a lens that I bought for that reason. So
we had a question from somebody on your channel here, the one and only. A little bit off of we're gonna deteriorate here from travel just for a second, but he says, I'm starting to learn editing, and I was wondering what the best software app would be for Mac. Thank you. And I'm gonna say that if you're on Mac, Final Cut Pro is the best. It runs the best. It is really easy to use. I love the magnetic timeline. There are so many plugins you can get. That's probably the best thing is there's so many plugins out there that you can get to just make your channel and editing look more professional. With so many titles, so many different types of transitions, even though I don't try to use those too much. I'm mainly for stylistic things. I'm more of a jump cut kind of editor. But yeah, I mean, if you're, there's just so many intros and title screens and titles, and you can get a lot of free stuff. I have a lot of videos on my channel where you can find a lot of this stuff for free, and then there's a lot of fantastic paid ones. It's the future is whatever you make it with Final Cut Pro. So I that's what I know. You're gonna say this. Kyle's a Final Cut Pro
Yeah.
user as
Well, I
well.
mean, I use Final Cut. I hate Premiere. I've just never liked it. It's never user friendly. The thing with a lot of Adobe products to me is that you feel like you need to really dive in and learn them before you can even use them. And I just never got into it. I always, I go old school. I mean, like I came from old school. I learned how to edit on film decks and back in like late 90, I was a graduate of '01. So I learned on old school VHS decks. And I don't even remember what the first thing we had was called, but I went into like, by the time I kind of came back to it, I was using a lot of like the iMovie, which is very similar to Final Cut. Final Cut's just a better version of iMovie. And Final Cut you can download for 90 days for free, I think right now. And it is like $300 in the long run, but it's a great app. They make movies with it. They make documentaries with it. So it's not like it's like a non-professional application, but it's very user friendly. So I like Final Cut, but you can also check out if you really want to dive into how to learn how to do like crazy stuff in editing and like intense color grading, DaVinci Resolve, you can download the free version, which is awesome.
Yeah, I
But
mean, a lot of people have switched to DaVinci Resolve mainly because of their color grading tools, and it's a little bit tricky to get the hang of like how they use nodes and stuff like that. But once you figure it out, there's a lot of great YouTubers that deep dive into tutorials in that, and like you said, it's free. So it depends on what your budget is too. If you just don't really have enough money to invest in something, I mean, Final Cut Pro is $200 software, or $300, like $299.
I forget, yeah, $299.
I got mine for I think $199 with as an education discount. So if you have an education email address or something like from college days or whatever, you still have that lingering around. Use that. Get the education bundle for Final Cut Pro. Comes with Motion, Final Cut. It even comes with the Logic, so you get the whole creative suite for $200, which is a fantastic deal. So if you have an education discount or an email address, do that hands down, and you can use that to buy Macs as well. So if they have an education store, which they have, usually all the Macs are like 10% cheaper with an education email address than they are. So another budget saving tip there. So what's our next category here tonight, bud? Cameras right
so
now.
this is pretty obvious, right? Like if you're going somewhere, you need a backpack to usually go there with, especially if you're traveling. And you need if you're a photographer or videographer, you need a camera. So this is, and this isn't like a recommending a camera part of the segment here. This is just kind of like when you're packing your bag, you need to know what you're going to be going to film and what you need to use, because the best camera is the one that's best suited for the project you're working on. So, for instance, like I'm not going to bring my A7S III into the pool or the ocean because, well, I don't
You're
have
not?
like a $1,200 water case, but in that case, I'm going to bring a GoPro. So, like when you're planning on going on a trip or holiday vacation, wherever you may be from, I would say make a list of like the things that you want to do with your video or photos, and make a list of what cameras, if you have multiple cameras or whatever, of what you're going to bring. So I'm going to Orlando, and I know that specifically I'm going to be doing a video on the Sony ZV-1. That's kind of one of my goals with Paul. So
Absolutely.
clearly I'm going to bring the ZV-1, but also that's also just like for me a perfect camera for vlogging. Like I hate going on the airplane and having like a big Joby Gorilla Pod with this big camera aimed at yourself, because you just feel so awkward on a plane. I don't know how those people like Harry and Nate do it time and time again. Maybe you just get used to it, but
I
when
don't
you
know
have that
either.
little ZV-1, like it's the size of a cell phone. I mean, it's like you point it at yourself. People don't think anything of it. They don't really care about what you're doing. people might look at you as you're walking down the airplane aisle if you're talking or something. But so like for me, like just walking around vlogging, if I know I'm going to do a lot of that, I'm probably going to bring the ZV-1. If I
For sure.
don't want to bring the A7S3 because of like, let's say I don't want to bring it because of either I don't want to get it stolen, I don't want to get it broken, like we're going to be going on like roller coasters and stuff. So maybe that's not the camera to bring. So maybe the ZV-1 or the ZV-E10 or A6400 would be the camera that I would bring. Or like if you're going to go skydiving or snowboarding, you better be bringing that GoPro or like an Insta360 camera if you own one. So this whole part is just kind of like figuring out what you need, like write it down, like plot what you're going to film, and kind of pick what would the best camera for that be, and then make that list, and then that's your packing list basically. So it's a way to not, like last time I went to Florida, Paul, I brought everything with me. Did I even use the ZV-E10 or I used the A7S3 once?
You didn't have the ZV-10 yet, but we
the
used the ZV-1.
A6400, yeah.
Yeah, you brought your 6400 and you never. I don't believe you used it once.
I don't think it took it out of the bag, and the only reason I took the A7S3 out of the bag was for the video that you filmed. So
right,
and it was being used as a demonstration thing. So it's one of those things that just like don't bring everything you have because you think you might have it. Like make a list of the things that you know you want to have, and then if you think you might, I guess if there really is something like, well, what if this happens? I would want this. Then that's
make a
your
list
decision,
of things that you definitely want to shoot, and then decide what you need or what you should bring for those. I'm gonna be honest. Every time freaking Kyle comes over with his ZV-1, I'm like, I want to get one of those things. I want to get one of those things. It's so small and compact, and you bring it anywhere, and you can feel so discreet when you're at Disney or any of these places, just shooting family videos. It's got all the high frame rates that you can shoot with that thing, and it's a tiny little thing. The only downside to it is batteries, but you can combat that by just getting a ton of aftermarket batteries.
Yeah, and they're small. And they're small.
And they're
the
tiny.
batteries are small too. So that's one thing, is that they don't take up much room in a bag, because you do have to think of a bag as like it's a vessel that you don't want to overbring. You want to have room for stuff. And I always try to like leave room for stuff that I want to bring home too, which last time was nothing. That's why I didn't buy anything when we were in Florida last time. But so yeah, like you got your GoPros. I got all that stuff over there. So just make a list of the cameras that you think are going to be the most useful for the things you're going to want to use. If you aren't going anywhere near water and you don't have any reason for a GoPro, then don't bring it. It's just taking up space in your bag, regardless of how big you think it is. So
yeah, I mean, that's why I love my A7C for travel. One, it shoots fantastic photos. It does great video. It has a flip out screen. It's the size of an APS-C camera, but it's a full frame camera. And it's got all the bells and whistles, like the digital hot shoe if I wanted to use like one of the compact Sony mics, or my K3M to do XLR video. But typically for travel, I just like the camera itself, and give me my 24mm lens, my G Master, and then I use APS-C crop mode to be able to get a 35mm out of that lens, and pretty much have two lenses in one with any setup. So I think I could do most of it with my 24mm, and then my Tamron 28. I'd say most everything with a 24mm, and then bring my Tamron 28-200, and I have like everything covered.
You just jumped the gun there, Paul.
I just
jumped
the gun.
So now you can start.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, we're Sony fanboys here, so and we're going over travel, so like we're not going to go over every single lens that we have. Kyle has the behemoth Sigma 24 to Sony, and he brought it last time so I could do a video with it, and I did, and we got some great shots out of it. We had a fun time shooting with it. It's a behemoth. I don't know if he's going to bring it this time, because now he has the Tamron 28-200, and it's just a light lens. It's it's the same like size, probably a little bit thinner than the Sigma, but it's so light, it fits in the camera bag easy, and you get 28-200 a range. So it's great for it's a fantastic photography lens. For video, because it changes the aperture, it's a little tricky, but it's still doable. Just pair it with maybe a low aperture prime like my 24 millimeter, or the 35 GM, or the 21.8 that Kyle has, and you could have a killer setup there for vlogging. And I think like either that or get the Tamron 17 to 28, and then get the Tamron 28 200, and you got a 2-lens combo that gets you all the way from super wide to super zoom, and you're good. With those 2 lenses, you've got everything covered. So
for me on this specific one, like I said, like everything takes up space in your bag. Everything weighs a lot. So if I don't really care about the weight, I'm probably going to bring the Sigma 24 to 70, because I think the things that we're going to be filming isn't going to really need anything past a 70 necessarily. I say that now, but of course, once I don't bring it. But the one thing about the Sigma 24 to 70 lens is that it's heavy, but it's also a 2.8 fixed. So if like we're going to be in Florida at nighttime. Do I want a lens that can see at nighttime? That's going to be my option. If I like this lens is worthless if I shoot at nighttime, unless I'm in 28 millimeters, because this is only a 2.8 at that focal range, and then it's like a 5.6. So this thing's not going to work great at night.
No.
Versus this will. So I'm probably going to just bring this one, but we'll see. But if we're also just in daylight the whole time, maybe I will just bring this. This is the stuff that I have to think about, and all the shot list that I have to put in my head of what I'm going to need this lens for. But no matter what I'm going to do, like right now, I can't show you because I'm shooting on it, but the 20 millimeter lens for me is my 100%. I'm probably always going to have that lens with me for 2 reasons. A, it's like my best vlogging lens because it's the closest focal range. Sorry, it's the lowest focal range I have in a lens, because I don't have that 16 to 35. But also it's really small. It's a compact lens. It's not big, and it's light. So it's not going to really take up much room in my bag. And it's a 1.8 aperture. So this thing is like the perfect lens at nighttime, so long as I don't want to zoom in on anything. So, which is, like if I'm shooting them fireworks over at Magic Kingdom, like maybe I want that zoom lens. So, but that lens is always going to be in the bag because it's the smallest lens I have. It's the lowest aperture, and it's the widest. So that's 100% going to be there. This 28 to 200 lens, the really nice thing about this is I did that video in Colorado where this is the only camera lens I brought with me.
You really tested that one out.
This one was so versatile because I'm not used to having I've had a 70 to 200 that I rented once. That was a big lens. That thing took up like a quarter of my bag, and I don't even know if I used it, because I think you like instinctively in your head you have to go, I want to put this lens on my camera now. Versus like this, you're just like, you're shooting mostly wide, and then there's that time you're like, oh, I'm just going to zoom in all the way on this lens and see what happens, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a sweet look. I'm going to go with this. So having something that can go from a 28 to a 200, I've never had a lens anywhere near like anything like that. So
yeah, we were shooting in Montana or
Duluth, or
Minnesota when we were there, and you were like, okay, was not expecting this out of this lens.
Well, you guys were taking this picture of like, there's a spot that you walk by in that area where you're like, oh my gosh, give me the camera. This is like the best photo ever. And it's like the trees clear and you see down the hill and this river going out into the lake. And I'm like, I go to Paul, I go, don't even bother. It's a shitty photo. I've tried taking that photo so many times. It's not going to work. It's just going to look terrible. And then he like comes over with the 28 to 200, and I look at it and I was like, oh, I'm buying this lens. Oh my gosh. And I just like, was like, oh, this gave me a whole new perspective on that angle. So, So like, this is a really nice option for anyone, is that anything that you can have the most versatile lens. Granted, like I said, it's not the greatest for video because that aperture change, but you can do some cool things in camera to make that like auto ISO and exposure comp and stuff to keep that looking relatively good.
So we got a question on a guy from your channel. He says, should I buy the Laowa 9mm or the Sony 10 to 18 for my Sony ZV? Like he said EV10, but I think he meant ZVE10.
Yep. I've actually called it EV10 so many times.
Because
I
when
don't have any experience with that Laowa 9mm myself. I've seen other people talk about it, and it's very mixed. Some people like it a lot. Some people say don't bother wasting your money on it. I have used the 10-18, and I will say that is probably my favorite lens on APS-C lenses or cameras at this point. For like needing a wide angle, I should say it that way.
if you need
Um,
a wide angle that's stabilized,
yep.
that's the one, and it's f4, so it's it's all right. Uh, the Laowa, I will say this though, you got to remember the Laowa is an all manual lens as well, so
Yep.
you're not going to have autofocus with the Laowa, so you got to take that into consideration too. Now, yes, it's wide angle, and but still, when you're vlogging or using, well, it depends what you're using it for, right? If you're going to be
Yep.
doing landscape photography or something like that, sure, you could have them all manual because you can control that when you're behind the camera a lot easier. But if you're wanting to vlog with this, you got to remember there's no autofocus in those Laowa lenses. Those are mainly fantastic for like real estate stuff because they can get so wide if you really need that extra reach and you're behind the camera. But if you're doing anything where you're not able to control the autofocus as well, you might want to get the Sony lens. Another great option is if you want something that need something with a little lower light, an f2.8. Tamron makes an 11 to 20, and it's pretty much the comparable lens to the Sony, except for it's a lower aperture. It doesn't have the image stabilization, so you're giving up image stabilization for lower light. And once again, it really depends on how you're using the lens. If you're doing a lot of vlogging and you're outside a lot of that time, you're not indoors, I would personally probably still go with the Sony because it's image stabilized and you're going to get the extra 1 millimeter, which,
Yeah.
For wide angle is a little bit more. So that is nice. But the Tamron is still a fantastic lens. The autofocus is as well as any other Sony lens because they kind of partner with Sony. Sony owns a portion of Tamron. And, but it has the lower light. So things you got to weigh and consider. I think the pricing on those two lenses, the Tamron's a little bit cheaper, but they're pretty close and comparable. So it's really a matter of choosing how low
Yeah.
light you want to go.
So, like, my opinion on those two, because one I've already used plenty of, they are very similar price. The thing with wide angle lenses, when you have something like that wide on that camera, I almost don't like having the background crazy blurred out because it's like you're showing off the background having this wide lens. Why would
You
you
want
want
to
to
see it.
blur the
So.
heck out of it? So, like, the f4 looks fine, especially when you're holding the camera like this. It kind of bokehs out a little bit anyways. So, um, when you go too wide and have that super blurred background, it's kind of just like, well, what was the point of that? Now I feel like I need to hold it closer to myself because it's there's nothing to look at in the background. Having that stabilization, and this is mostly specifically regarding the A6400 and ZV-10, there's an option. Well, there's no stabilization on the A6400, so that lens is awesome for that. But also on the ZV-10, there's a mode called standard stabilization that only applies to lenses that are stabilized. When you use that function, it looks good on that camera. It looks stabilized and it's good enough.
Right.
And that's not when you turn it off, it looks kind of bad. It's very shaky, but then when you put active stabilization on it, it looks like a 16 or 18 millimeter. So I like that lens a lot. In fact, there's a video on my channel if you're going to watch. I went to IKEA as a vlog. I think it's called like Still Sold Out. If you want to see what that lens looks like on a ZV-10, that's kind of my unofficial review of that lens, I guess. So
what? Let's see. Okay, here we go. I got another question here from Gordon Reed. Thank you. Yes, I would use it for vlogging. That type. Okay, $900. It is okay. Thanks. Okay, so yeah, see, we just sold him on that lens. Great.
you can find that lens used.
Go click on one of Kyle's affiliate links and then go buy it. So
I would say go look at Facebook Marketplace first, then go click on my link because you can find those sometimes used for like $500-600. So
yes, just make sure you test it when you buy it. Just make sure the autofocus works. Make sure there's no problems with that. And there's no, you can get some great deals on the used marketplace. So yeah, for sure. And that lens has been out for a while, so you got plenty of options there.
Oh,
Um,
and real quick, I didn't mention it. If you obviously if you have lenses and you're gonna go film outside, you probably want to bring some ND filters with you because if you want to have the best look and have low aperture and cinematic looks, you have to darken the front of your lens so that you can lower your aperture and have that depth of field. And so I
didn't forget about it,
personally,
bro. We were just about to get to it.
okay,
We
I
were about to
thought
get to it.
I was about to hit the next button, Paul.
Oh well, you were a failure
I
then. I was about to
I
because you got this. You go ahead and finish your
yeah.
filter.
I love the Mckinnon Polar Pros. I just keep going back to it. Like I have two different brands. One's more versatile and the other one is more just like I need to switch the whole filter if I want to switch. But I like how these color cast and how they sun flare. And I like to point my camera at the sun a lot with subjects between it because you just get cool cinematic looks when you get sun glare and sun flares and stuff. And this thing has a kind of a golden flare to it that the other ones don't have. So
Now? What do you suggest for people if they're going to be buying one of those Peter McKinnons? Because they come in two. They come in 2 to 5 and 6 to 9.
I use 2 to 5 like 95% of the time. Most of the time, if I feel like it's not dark enough, I either up the aperture a tiny bit or up my shutter speed. There's times where I go away from that 180 rule and I'll just jack up my shutter speed because half the time I'm too lazy to switch it. I have to like grab the backpack. So I mostly use the 2 to 5. And if you are going to buy one of these things too, buy the biggest one that you ever plan on having a lens that fits. I've had to buy two of these already, and I had it in a 72, and then I got a 77 lens. I bought that one, and then I bought an 82 millimeter lens. So I had to buy another one. So I lost a little bit of money by selling the first couple, but it could have
And
just
like
bought
you
the
said,
82 to begin with, and then if I bought the 82 right away and just got some like what do they call adapter rings
and
where you
I
can
get something called an ice adapter. They're on Amazon. They're called ICE, and then you just search for whatever 82 millimeter to whatever filter thread you want your lens to be, and they're
yeah,
like $7 or $8, and they're so cheap you could just literally get one for every single one of your lenses and just leave them on there. So
yeah,
whenever
yep,
you decide to put your filter on there, it's just on there, and
yep.
it's great
Unless you use lens hoods a lot.
unless you use lens hoods.
Yeah,
Yes.
I do have the Freewell kit. I don't know if you have yours out, Paul, so I'll just grab mine. We got these like Freewell magnetic kits, which are really cool. So you like screw one thing on, and then they have two options. You have like your base ND filter that sits in there, and a base mist filter, which is that kind of is this the mist one right here? Actually, the mist one will kind of bloom out your highlights. You can see that light back there. Um, these just sit in between, and then you can decide if you want the 2 to 5 or the 6 to 9, and they just stick on and they're magnetic, and then they become an ND filter. So
I really like
um,
them. I first I was a little hesitant on them, and I thought they fell off. But as I used them more, I'm like, they're great.
yep,
The other cool thing is they work with that whole system works with the other
magnetic
filters
line.
that
Yeah,
Freewell makes. So they have like a dedicated mist filter where there's no stops of light because the built-in mist has a one stop of light. So if you wanted
yeah,
to use their other magnetic filters, they just literally snap on that base plate and it still works great too. So that's another thing. It's really cool there. I like that system, but
hmm
yeah,
I
once
saw
again,
say
you're gonna
I
get
saw
82 millimeters for those because you're not going to spend $400 on a versatile pack like that and not be able to use it on every single lens you have.
yeah. Say Park had a cool video too the other day where if you wear a lot of pocket tees, you can like put like a piece of cardboard with magnets on it, and then just like when you take the one off, you can just like slap it on your chest, and then you put the other one on film, and then if you need to switch, you can just take it off. And I thought that was kind of cool.
He had a really
Um,
cool hack video. There was another number of other things. Yes, they were like really cool.
so yeah, I mean the ND filters are pretty important. I always have mine with me no matter what. That's just kind of that has to be with my camera setups because if you want to use a 2.8 or a 1.8 aperture, unless it's nighttime, it's going to just look god awful, unless you put something in front of it. So, but
This
let's
is a
move on to the
question
next
for
thing here,
you.
Paul. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Which do you prefer, the Freewell magnetic VND system or the Peter McKinnon? If you could only choose
Absolutely
one,
depend.
Which one
Yeah.
would you choose?
For me, it depends really where we're going. Like I'm probably going to bring the Freewell with me to Florida because I want the versatility. I want the mist filter set, and I want the 6 to 9 because it's going to be really bright in Florida. Hopefully, that's not rain while I'm there. So that kit is really nice. It packs down about the same amount. I mean, it doesn't take much any more room. So normally, if I know I'm going to go out to like the woods by my house and film like a video, I'm probably just going to bring the one ND filter, like the Mckinnon one, because I just like how the looks and I like how the sun flares and stuff. Not to say that the free ones are bad. The Freewell is a great company and they're way underpriced for what you get with that company, I think personally. But so yeah, I'm going to bring the Freewell set to me to Florida because that's going to be the most versatile. I say that now, but Paul, if I show up with the Mckinnon one, we'll have to make a joke about that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, if you come with a Peter McKinnon one, I'm gonna make. Yeah, for me, the Polar Pro makes fantastic stuff. The problem is you're spending almost the same amount of money on one Polar Pro filter as you are for that whole entire Freewell kit, and it really is nice to be able to have a 6 to 9 stop when you need it. I agree with Kyle. I don't use the 6 to 9 a lot, but here in Florida, it does get pretty bright and sunny. So, like in the summertime, I do use it. I had to do a video for my school where I was like doing an outside tour of the building for like fire escapes or something, and it was I tried to use a 2 to 5 stop so that I could switch indoors really easily. Um, but it was way too bright out there, so I had to use my 6 to 9. So it depends on where you're shooting and all that stuff. But so
When I
the
went
6 to 9 does come in clutch, you know.
when I went to Mexico, I was using the 6 to 9 Freewell, and I was still at like F5. Granted, that was on the A6400, which isn't anywhere near the dynamic range of like the A7S3, but
Right.
I was just like, I'm going to bring this and I'm going to be able to put it down to two, whatever aperture. And as soon as I got there, I was just like, oh, man, it is so bright here. But yeah, let's move on to the next thing. So obviously microphones. So if I only brought the ZV-1, Paul, I probably wouldn't even need a microphone.
No. The built-in microphone on the ZV-1 is pretty
usable. If you guys are ever using the ZV-1, I will tell you one secret that you'll see all these people who are using the ZV-1 now. The big secret they do in post is you open up your EQ and you boost that 70 to like 140 range in your EQ, and you get that low end back, and it sounds similar to a shotgun mic. And then you can just make a couple tweaks up in your if you guys know what EQing is, you can make a peak and then sweep it across and hear where that boxy sound is and then just eliminate that sound. You can get that mic sounding pretty good. Otherwise, if you're traveling light, Paul, and you don't have any room, what mic you bringing?
Well, I used to say, for me, I say I bring my Rode Video Micro because it's my old faithful. I will say though that Rode just came out with the Rode Video Mic Go 2 for $100, so $40 more than the Micro, and it sounds fantastic
Really
for what it is, for the size, and it is built like a tank, like the rest of their other more recent microphones. So if you have the cash, spend the extra $40 and get the Video Mic Go 2. But the Micro is still a fantastic option for the size, and it comes with the little wind muff. That's the other downside to the Go 2 is it doesn't come with that. So it's only $40 more, but then you also have to buy another wind muff separately. So that's going to be probably run you another $30 to $40.
Yeah, well, maybe 20 somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they have one out yet for it. So, but they'll be.
Well, Rode replied to me and said the WS12 or 11 is what it's going to be called, or something like that. I can't remember which one it is because one's for the NTG video mic, but it's coming out next week, so they'll have it out. But yeah, I would say if I don't have room for the video mic, the NTG video mic, I bring the Rode Micro. That's an outstanding microphone. It's like one of the cheaper ones, and it's one of the better sounding ones compared to it. I did pick up that Deity. Which one is this called? Deity Mini D4 Mini. This thing sounds really good too. It also gives you an option to add that like second input if you want to add another microphone to it, like a wireless Go or something. I don't see many people actually doing that necessarily, but this is a tiny bit smaller. It's a little bit more discreet and still sounds just about as good. But yeah, these are really good for when you don't have room and you just like, I got just enough room to tuck this microphone in the corner of my backpack. So because I know that we're going to be doing a lot of talking head, Paul, I'm probably going to bring the video micro or the video NTG. I'm going to have to find a way to make that fit in my backpack better.
And that microphone is really fantastic. Now, I have started using in the studio the NTG5 because, I have no idea why, but Rode sent me one because they're just nice people. But it sounds really good. I will say it sounds a little more boomier. I have a video coming out I recorded this week, so it should be coming out shortly. But comparing those two, the video mic NTG and the NTG5, but the video mic NTG really holds its spot for being a 1/8 inch microphone. I will say the NTG5 sure has more boominess and just it just sounds a little bit more full. But I think you could EQ the video mic NTG and get really close. But I'm just comparing straight out of the box, no EQing. But the NTG is and the other thing that people forget about is that NTG is so versatile. So it's not like it's just a 1/8 inch microphone. You can also plug it in USB like you are now and use it for streaming. And I mean your audio sounds great.
So one thing I'm also going to bring, Paul, because I know that we're doing a video. I'm going to be doing a video on the ZV-1 on. We'll get to it in a second on a gimbal. So I might also bring the like Rode Wireless Go system that I have. Maybe
Wireless Go 2s, yes.
For me, this is one of those things where if you know you're going to be out for like 12 hours, I don't know if I would necessarily want to bring wireless microphones just because they will decharge throughout the day, or you forget to put one on, or one falls off on a ride. There's a lot of like scenarios where maybe I don't use these, but because you and me will both be on the video, I might bring this kit because it's got 2 microphones. So we'll see.
It would be good for it's you when you're traveling, you got to consider what you're going to be doing, and like you said, there'll be 2 of us, so we might need to be both mic'd up. So I mean, if he can fit it in his package, then sure, why not? Go for it.
Like if I knew I was going to do an interview or something, I wouldn't even hesitate. This would be in the bag because you put it right on someone or a live mic. So we'll see if there's space for it. The cool thing with that is that you can always put those. They're so small that you can find places to put them. Just hopefully they don't crack and break if you put them in the wrong spot in your bag. So.
And right now there's a pretty good deal on them on Amazon. They're selling the Rode Wireless 2 system is right now selling for $276.29. So it's a good deal.
Yeah, that's a little bit better. So yeah, I mean, like microphones, for me, just bring the one that's going to fit in your bag the best and do the best for what you need. I know that we're going to do a lot of outdoor heavy duty talking stuff, so I'm no doubt going to bring the NTG video mic and the Rode video mic, mainly because I need to do a gear review with a product where I might be using it on that specific item. So I got to find a way to fit probably 2 mics. But also you have that mic, so like, and you have the A7S III, so like there's a possibility that I could just like skip bringing that camera altogether, because if I'm filming something, you could easily just film it for me with my SD card. So we'll
exactly.
See. What's on our list for the block? So that brings up that next topic then, Paul, unless you got something to add to microphones.
No, I mean, pretty much for my microphones, we're Rode fanboys, so everything Rode done. Moving on to the next section.
So I put travel vlogging because I couldn't fit the rest of the word on there. So this topic is like, now you got all your stuff, you're there. What do you need to use to film yourself? So whether it's vlogging or setting up stuff, because clearly you're a creator, you're filming yourself, right?
Right, exactly.
Or in our case, like we are together, so I can film you, but whatever. So I think it's pretty obvious. The first thing you really need is probably some kind of handheld thing, right?
Yes. For me, I've been using this switch pod. I like it just because it's angled. It just kind of holds the camera outright. And on all my cameras, I use the Manfrotto quick release plate, and then it just has a ball head on here and made by SwitchPod too. I think both these together are like $130, so it's not crazy. I like that it folds up really small, so when you're traveling, I just slide it right next to the side of my camera bag and the little cup holder thing, and it's great. It's very discreet, or I could just like slide it in, flat inside of my one of my zippers in my camera bag and be done with it. It's really nice. I think you have. I really like the one you bought from Ulanzi. The what is it?
I'm actually using it right now. I do have the box though.
Is it the 46? It's the what is it? RT 46.
Mine's the 47, but the only difference is that one is an Arca Swiss plate and one is a quick release plate. So this is the Ulanzi MT47. I was recommending for the longest time to like MT16, which is like good for like ZV1 and stuff. Wasn't good for bigger camera setups. But the problem I started having is that as you were holding it over time, it like would turn. So you're walking around and the camera would kind of like, it wouldn't be steady. So I bought this thing, and this thing is like heavy duty. This thing is like all metal. It doesn't turn. The ball head's awesome. I have a picture on my Instagram where I put my A7S III with the Sigma 2470, the shadow box, or the what do you call it? Shadow box? Why can't I think of the name? I put the cinema kit on there, my cage, my handle, and I put all of that on top of the thing, and I was like, this thing just holds no problem. Granted, it was heavy. You would never do that, but so I like this, and I really like the fact that it folds down to a really tiny thing, and it actually comes up as high as this Joby.
Well, it also has like a built-in selfie stick type of thing, right? So you can
you can pull it out, and it extends up about, I would say, maybe 13, 14 inches tall. It's the same height as the Joby 5K.
So just don't let anybody from Disney see you with that thing, because they might tackle it. Security might come tackle you. Sir, you can't use a selfie stick.
That is true. And that's why having your Joby GorillaPod, the love-hate relationship I have with this thing, works out well. So the only thing I really enjoy about this is the fact that you can maneuver it the way you want it. I love the ball head, but I love when you have this like kind of bulky, hard to hold thing, you tend to hold your camera a little harder. And also you have less likely of doing that wrist twist that you do when you walk around.
Right.
Which makes the camera do this kind of goofy thing that you're not paying attention. When you're holding this thing, you're very like stiff-armed with it. So I feel like you just end up getting better looking footage when you end up using these. Take that with a grain of salt. But these things I like to clip on the side of my backpack, because most of these camera bags have like little clips that you can put something on the side and clip it in, whether it's a tripod or something like this. So this I would put on the outside of my bag, but this thing fits in like your pocket or like any small area of your camera bag. So if you don't have any room in your backpack, then you're running out of, I don't know. But you got to have something like that. You want to be able to set your camera down and walk up to it or whatever.
The MT46, the one that you have, is that the one that has the?
I have the 47.
Oh yeah, the 47.
Yep.
Is it the one with the quick release or the non-quick release?
Mine's Arca Swiss.
Arca Swiss. Okay.
Yep. And it comes with a little tiny plate. So like this is perfect for like the ZV1 because that camera's not wide.
Right.
And this thing just pops right on there. I end up using my Joby one a lot because it's already mounted on the camera. So, but then also like, so if you can, and depending on where you're going, you might need a tripod. So like, I'm not going to recommend a tripod. That's not where I'm talking about here, but get something that is small like this that you can fit in a backpack or on the side of your backpack. Clearly, you don't want to add a lot of weight. This thing probably weighs a little too much. I shouldn't bring this anymore. But
Man, I really, really want somebody to come out with a design very similar to the Peak Design carbon fiber one, but not be as crazy expensive,
$500.
because
Yeah,
there's no way I'm spending $600 on a tripod.
no.
I have way more things that I want to buy than to spend $600 on a tripod. So
I don't even know what this one's called. It's like Zomi or something like that. Yeah, Zomei. I bought this thing like 3 years ago. It was like $50 on Amazon. I have not had a single problem with this tripod, and it's always worked out. And I like I said, I can fit this in that little camera bag.
So I'm currently looking for a travel tripod that's like that size, but I really hate the little twisty knobby ball things. I like the locking switches. So
Yeah, I mean, you can probably take those off and switch them, but so if you're traveling, you have to decide if you're going to need a tripod or not. I'm not going to bring this because I have Paul. He's my tripod for the weekend. He's going to hold the camera if I need to. And then also, I can't show you the one because I'm actually using it on my camera, but these little friction arms, these clamps that you can clamp stuff to, like you
so
can
good.
clamp it onto an object and then you can just maneuver this where you want and clamp it down. I've put my cameras on these things. This one's like a really small one, more for like the ZV-1, because if you have a big camera, it's going to hit the pole you're attaching it to. But this is a Ulanzi one. You can just like clamp it onto like stop sign posts or railings or whatever, and then you can walk up to the camera and you can have these things in cool positions. And like this is the year, Paul, that I said I want to try to walk less while filming.
Yes.
Now I say that, but now I also have that to work with. But
We'll
I
get
want
to
to
that
be
in a
able
little bit.
I want to be able to do more vlogging where you set the camera somewhere and then like walk up to it. That way the camera is always still. It's not moving around. It's going to get the best image when the camera is static. And then you're just going to go look. And I'm really inspired by like Peter Lindgren and stuff like that, where they'll just pop the camera down somewhere, film something, pop it somewhere else, film another thing, walk up to it. And his vlogs are always very fluid. You don't need to walk around when you're vlogging. And also, because I say that because when you're walking around, you're not paying attention to walking most of the time.
Right, and
You're paying
it's
attention to what you're saying and how the camera looks and how your composition. And then you just do stupid things. And then all of a sudden, if you start paying attention to where you're walking, you say dumb things because you're not thinking. It's too much going on. And these friction arms are great because you can just like attach them to stuff. I did want to do a mini golf thing, Paul, maybe this weekend if there's time. And my thought process was like putting this on the arm of the golf club itself and having the camera here. So you get these cool like fixed shots of things. And the cool thing with these is you can get really creative and inventive of where you put these. I haven't put out the video of the studio build, but I attached this thing to my roller handle, and I had it filming the wall, and they had filming me, and I had some really cool looking fun shots.
Hey, there looks like there's a lot of people here from Dobo's stream. So, hey guys,
Sure.
I see a lot of you guys here. So appreciate all the support you guys always come in here, and you guys are so nice. A lot of people saying my new. What do you think? I mean, Kyle, you'll see this weekend, but my new studio, I feel like, is so plain and boring. I mean, I moved rooms and I haven't really done anything with it yet. All my gear is like thrown over on this kind of corner of the room right now as I'm like, I gotta get my charging wall moved over into this room. I literally just have these. This is like a tube light that's like over here on my couch, and then the blue is just my ceiling fan smart lights, or I just changed them blue, and it's just kind of that's how it's given it. I'm not really doing anything fancy. This is like a TV that is mounted on the wall. I don't know why we did it, but there's no power plugging into it, so it's just mounted on the wall. I'm probably going to remove this and do something with this space behind me. I want to get a PF logo like really bad, whether it's like right here or on this wall, but I'm thinking behind me. But anyway, that was just, I see a lot of people saying nice new studio.
It's a work in progress for you too right now. It takes a while, and it takes like I'm a month into mine. I'm still trying to figure it out. So you should have seen it before, like an hour ago. This room looked like a disaster hit it again because I had this table I is my standing desk, and I actually move it back there for my talking head stuff. And it's nice because you can just like pull it out, slide it, turn, lift it. But when it's like you get all done, all of a sudden there's snacks everywhere and empty cans and stuff all over the floor, and you're just like, I gotta quit doing this mess.
Yeah, Fly Zone. He did a new paint job and really cleaned up his room. It's looking clean, man. And it's especially since when I was there, it was kind of a mess. Walt Disney World doesn't let you use extended tripod. Yes, they don't. They even like you're right. Well, they don't. The trams don't run right now, but when the trams did run, one of the things they said of the trams is like, please, you will not be able to bring in any selfie if when they search your if they happen to search your bag, because they do it randomly now, it seems, because their machines actually are pretty darn good. Sometimes you don't have to you can just put the bag on your backpack and walk through, and they won't even ever check your bag sometimes, but they randomly check people. But if they see a selfie stick, they'll make you either throw it in the trash can right next to them or make you walk all the way back to your car and put it in there, because they don't like selfie sticks. But if it's a tripod that extends into a selfie stick, then they probably won't even notice it. But if they see you, like, you got to be kind of discreet with when you're with. Sometimes, I mean, I see people all the time still at Disney with them. It's just, you got to do it and hope that nobody says anything to you. But
I mean, it depends on how far. The ones we have only pull out. They only extend out 12 inches anyway. So like they're not. They're really wanting to get rid of the ones that are the 3 foot long selfie sticks with GoPros that people will just swing all over the place, and you're
and hit people in the face, or
and
they don't want them on the rides, and all that stuff. So,
but yeah, those, yeah, I used that MT16 when we went there last time, and no, I didn't get any crap for that. But also I was not being stupid and walking around with employees and stuff. So, I don't have.
Well, the one last accessory is the Crane 3.
Oh, yep. Duh. All right, so I did a video on this last week on the ZV-E10, and I did the APS-C camera and the full frame camera, talking about this. Right now I have this thing set up for like the crazy setup. So I have like the camera control running to the gimbal, as well as like the microphone running internally and stuff. I'm probably not going to have that set up, because really the only thing that it sets up is you can hit a record button on your handle, which I could care less. It's just as easy to hit the button on top of the gimbal. We're probably going to be shooting a lot of this stuff at Disney with this camera and gimbal setup. So now I've had like this gimbal now for like a month. I didn't put my video out right away. In fact, June was kind of getting, they were kind of getting a little antsy, like, hey, when's that video coming out? Are you going to send it to us before you post it? And I was just like, hey, man, I don't want to just like get the gear and just immediately have a review, because that's not, that's kind of lame to spend one day with a gear and just be like, oh, this is how it is. And I wanted some time behind it. As much as I really like the ZV-E10 and the A6400 and the A7S III on this gimbal, this thing is awesome with the ZV-1, Paul. It's a little light. At first, you kind of have to get used to it, because it doesn't want to turn as quick as some of the heavier weight ones. So you have to kind of tweak with the settings a little bit. But like when you take this thing off the tripod, it's like the same size as the handheld tripod. It doesn't weigh any. This thing gimbal is so light.
It's crazy.
Like you'll see it. Like this setup is like it weighs nothing. Like that's why you see everyone in these posts holding it like this with their like A7S III, because it doesn't weigh anything at all. This is making walking and vlogging look good, but I'd still want to try to do less of that, because I like to think more about what I'm talking about. But if you can fit a gimbal in your backpack, and you want to bring a gimbal in your backpack, and you have a need for a gimbal in your backpack,
right?
That's the thing, is normally I would not bring the Weeble S, because it's too much room, takes up too much space. I'm probably not going to use it, because it's like you have to make a commitment to like using a gimbal. And then like, do I really want to walk around and have to fold it up every 2 seconds? And versus like, so far what I'm catching with this thing is that this isn't really much different than like a handheld tripod. And when you're done, like you just pop that camera off. This is why I'm not going to use the camera connections. You just pop it off the gimbal, and like you hit the unlock. This thing folds up and throws, you like fit it in any spot in your backpack because it
Let's
doesn't
see
take up
that
any
in
space.
slow motion.
Oh, yeah, I did. I really wanted to emphasize in that video. That's why I did that. I couldn't get the Weeble S even in a big section of the backpack to fit. And then I just like put this thing in there easy and put something next to it. And it was like plop. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, the
So
Weeble
this
S
thing's
was my favorite gimbal, but I think if I used that one, I would fall in love with it.
Yeah, as long as you don't have a really heavy setup, like, obviously the A7S III has its limits with lenses, and even like the A6400 or ZV-10 with that 10-18, it didn't balance. It would just sit forward, and it definitely didn't balance because you couldn't move it back far enough. But you turned it on, and it just boom, it came up, and I didn't have a single problem using it. So
It's crazy.
it's got strong motors, but this thing so far is like my favorite piece of gear that I've gotten in the last like 6 months. Because it's like sometimes you buy crap like this and you're like, oh, awesome, and you're super excited to use it a couple times, and then it ends up as a shelf decoration in your set because you
Shelf
don't use it. So this thing, I mean, time will tell, but I feel like I'm going to use this like all the time now, just because it's so compact and usable. So I'm really excited
Oh,
about this thing.
look at this. You just got a new sub. You got Mr. Bob Casey here.
Awesome,
Ariels. He's subbing to you. Bob's a great guy. So you got a new sub, Kyle. Look at that.
Cool. That's awesome. I think I haven't really even, let me see.
Dude, you're climbing up to 3K.
I'm getting
You're
there.
just-
Yeah. I might get there around the weekend. It's amazing how YouTube is so weird. Like you struggle to get to 100, you struggle to get to 500, you struggle to get to 1,000. And then like you hit 1,000, and like, I mean, maybe not for everyone, but like for my channel, all of a sudden it was like, oh, now I'm at 2,000. And then like, oh,
Well, that's just
2,500.
because you're amazing. See, I still got a lot of work to do. So I still am sitting at that like 1,200 range.
I still think most of my subs are coming off of like 3 videos from like 6-7 months ago, but like
The ZV1, man,
it's
it's funny because as time goes on, you grow, YouTube pushes more people to you, but then that video is still building momentum and it's still really popular. So the more you grow, the more people they keep sending to those same exact videos that are in. I don't know. Anyway,
well, the
it's
cool
all
thing
about
too is that
exposure. So it's all about keeping
yeah,
with the grind.
the
Good
cool
night,
thing
Bob.
the cool thing with doing like gear reviews too is that you have to remember that there's several waves of those videos. Once those gears are outdated, they start to lose the views. But then there's this weird thing that happens where like all of a sudden now it's a great used item and it's priced right. And people are like, well, should I spend $400 on this or should I go buy the next one? So then they're looking up at all these old videos.
Right.
And the ZV-1, I thought at this point would probably been on that track of where people aren't looking at it anymore. The ZV-E10's out. There's probably going to be talks about the ZV-2 at some point or some like cheaper version of it.
That was
But
a very
then-
interesting article that I sent you, right? I mean, that could be a video in and of itself, but
we'll talk about that later. But like the cool thing is that sometimes people like Lindgren and Terry Warfield and now Leela from YouTube, like they're all of a sudden pushing the ZV-1 as a vlog camera again. Because like now finally people are like understanding like how awesome that camera really was. Because initially people like they got the camera for loan, they did a video on it, they never owned it, they didn't care about it. Once they start seeing how good that camera can be for vlogging, people are like, well, now I got to get this camera. But I'm noticing a huge uptick in those accessory videos because I think of those other people are promoting that camera now and it's getting that second wave of popularity. So it's kind of an interesting thing how YouTube works. So, but as far as vlogging accessories, I think that's all I got now. Like obviously, if you need your Insta360 travel tripod, like super extender, you could do that. But you bring that stuff. But
yeah, the last thing we should need to get into here is just what our must-haves are and other recommended items. So we're going a little over late tonight, but that's fine.
I didn't realize that. Sorry, Paul. I didn't realize that muted us every time we did that thing. And I click it. It takes like 3 seconds for it to go. So this is must-haves. What I mean by must-haves, Paul, is this obviously you must have your camera. You must have all that stuff. Must-haves for me are things that you cannot forget to pack in your bag. Like you must have your SD cards. You must have your SD card like case, because like if you only have like a couple SD cards, then fine, but you need to have all these like things to use that you don't want to forget about. And I've forgotten my damn SD cards so many times. Where you go out, you get on a shoot, and you turn on the camera, and it says no card, and you're like, dang it. Yeah, I mean, there's all these different cases that are out there, and whatever. I like the like hard cases that are a little bit more waterproof.
Yep.
So like obviously you need to make sure you have your SD cards. Make a checklist if you guys are packing your bag for traveling, because like Paul, I need to make like a final like checklist that I can make every time that I can just like check them off. That would be one of them. The next one for me is batteries. You absolutely want to make sure you bring your batteries and make sure they're charged.
Yep.
I got this one cool, like this thing came with that Mckinnon bag. I love this thing. You can buy this like separate too. It's 3 batteries, but if you notice, I got one Z battery for the A7S3. I got one F whatever the heck these are called, the A6400 ZV10 batteries.
Yep.
And then I got 2 of the ZVE10 or ZV1 batteries. So I make this case like a little versatile. I have some batteries in there. Otherwise, I went to Walmart, Paul, and I bought this little point and shoot bag for like $4, right?
Yep.
The cool thing is you open it up, it's got like a divider in the middle where it has like a little pocket pouch.
Okay. Oh, they're falling out.
You're not falling out because I'm trying to get the light on it. You can get 6 ZVE10 batteries in here, and you can get 6 ZV1 batteries in here just by putting them in here. And then like this is the smallest setup case I have, and it's like $5. Like you don't need to go out and spend $50 or whatever these things cost, which they're cool looking, but these are the best things to do. And then I have this process where I put the like battery one way for when I know it's charged, and I put it the other way for when I know it's empty. And same thing with the ZV1 batteries. If you get these cases, I always put like my sticker on the side of where the like X is on the battery, and then
right.
If you put it the other way, it's empty. So that's my little method of like knowing the madness, because it sucks when you're trying to like dig into your battery thing. You're trying to get your batteries quick, and then you grab a dead battery and put it in your camera. And you're like, I got to do that all over again. And I tried doing a battery change once, hanging on the side of a cable car in San Francisco while holding a backpack and the camera. I was trying to change the battery, and it wasn't fun. But yeah, batteries are a must-have.
Absolutely.
SD cards. I think if you're carrying around a camera with detachable lenses, if you can fit this, do it. If you can't, then whatever. But I use that. I use that a lot, and you can always take these things apart too. Like take the fragile part out and just like throw it in your bag or something. So, rocket blower, obviously. 100% bring 1 or 2 of these like microfiber towels for lenses. You will use these all the time, whether it's fingerprints, smudges, rain, water. Sometimes I'll actually bring like just a microfiber crappy towel, because like if you're outside and it's raining, you can wipe the camera off, whatever. If you guys are like filming yourself and you have like a YouTube channel and you want to look good, I wouldn't bring this size one, but they make little mini lint rollers. I wear black a lot, so like I'm doing this all the time, and I have dogs and stuff, so I always get dog hair all over me and whatever. Let's see, must-haves. Oh, if you can fit any amount of like gaff tape in your bag, that's always a nice thing to have. Like Donna came up with a method where if you bring like a pen with your bag, he just wraps like gaff tape around it. I used to never need gaff tape. And then I bought a roll of gaff tape and I ran out of that roll like immediately. And then like if you have it, you find reasons to use it all the time. So bring some gaff tape if you can. For me, if you guys are using auto white balance and auto settings in your camera, don't worry about this. But if you guys are shooting in manual settings all the time, go get one of these like white balance cards. These ones are truly calibrated. So this one cost me like, I don't know, $20. So it's more expensive than those like $5 Amazon ones. I don't have that $5 set down here, but the gray is so different than those cheap ones. Like they're like one's super dark, and I can never understand why my white balance was always a little off. But if you bring this, you can set your camera ahead of time. You can get the correct white balance. And then even if you like are shooting and you just like throw it in the frame for a second, take it back out. In post, you can edit that you can just click your white dropper on that card and recorrect your white balance in post. So one of the best things I've ever bought is one of the little wallet size ones. Just throw it in your wallet.
Yep.
And then you always have it. There's times where you want to use auto white balance if you're going in and out of different lightings, like at Disney, Paul, we'll probably do a lot more auto white balance because you're going from outdoor sunlight to tungsten lighting, and you want the camera to change. You don't want to have to correct that every time.
Yeah, I mean, I use these for my white balance thing. They're like these like Gary Fung because they're like kind of molded, but when you're outside on the go, they take up a little bit of space in your camera bag. Come with like a little lanyard thing, but the cards are just perfectly fine for traveling.
This is size of a credit card, so it fits in your bag. I tend to keep the paper on there just so it keeps it clean and doesn't get crap all over it. But I set my auto white balance all the time on my like main cameras. The ZV-1, like I typically leave that in auto because it's going to do what it wants to do anyway. So and that that camera, you're not looking for like necessarily cinema style shooting. So that's kind of it for my must-haves. Oh no, it isn't. If you guys are going out and you're going to need a couple of these, but it's not what you think. They're actually lens wipes. They're not like a roll of whatever. You can get these at Walmart for like $3 or something like that, $5 for like a box of 100. They're just like little like moist towelettes, but they're like lens wipes that have good like cleaning chemicals and stuff. Just wipe your thing clean. I used this when we were at that last time when we were at Disney, Paul. I got some water on the camera from a splash on something, and it like water. I didn't even notice it at first, but it like left water hard marks.
Right.
I couldn't get it with the towel, so I just like cleaned it with this and took it right off. So these things are nice. They're Zeiss lens wipes. They're probably for like glasses, like prescription glasses, but they work great on lenses. So
yeah, they get there's like it's a 220 count for like $15 on Amazon.
Yeah.
So
and at Walmart they have them in their lens departments for like $5. So they're not much, and you can fit these in your pocket. So I always bring one of these with. I've used them a couple times. Sometimes you don't even look for them. So not really a must-have, Paul, but it's something we missed, and I'm surprised we missed because there are some Drone Brews people here. If you can fit it, and if you know you're going to fly it,
right,
and actually use it, bring like some kind of travel drone if you can. I'm still a user of my what was this, the original Mavic Air.
You have the OG Mavic Air. Yep.
Now, I'm not looking to have like the top quality footage in my videos if I'm using this. Not to say that this thing sucks, because it doesn't. This thing puts out some great imagery anyways. It's a little bit less automated than some of the new ones of the Mavic Air 2 and 2S, but I know that I'm like, I just went to Mexico. I need a shot of the beach. That's it. So I'm going to put it up for like 5-10 minutes, just do a couple circles, film what I need to film. Drone's down. I'm not going to look at it for the rest of the trip. That's why I keep this one, because it's so dang small and it does what I want. And it looks better than the Mavic Minis, I think. So that's why I keep this one. I don't know the evil.
Well, I will say that I believe it looks better than the Mini. Yes, now they have the Mini 2. So the Mini 2 is probably, if you're going for ultimate portability, the Mini 2 is a fantastic option. But the Air, you have the Air 2, because the Mini 2 is has better also has better signal too, because it I don't think it does Wi-Fi. I don't believe.
Because I also forgot too, make sure you bring your phone charger, make sure you bring some C cables, make sure you bring battery chargers, or like the little, like me and Paul always have those like dual charger for your camera batteries and stuff like that. The Z batteries are kind of a joke because they take forever to charge. They're not quick like the other ones. So I do need to look into it, Paul, but I think there's that Anchor brand. That's the like 12-watt quick charge for like cell phones. I think those will actually be a good option as long as they don't like overcharge. I have to look in to see if you can use those. But don't forget to bring all your cables that you need to charge your stuff, because I've done that myself. You get somewhere, you go, oh, I forgot my like micro cable. Now you got to go down to like the gas station and pay $20 for a piece of crap cable that, you know what I mean? It's just that's a
Flying
mosquito.
mosquito. That thing's pretty loud. The air, right?
Well, I bought the stealth blades and they're better, but they're not great. It's still pretty loud. Yeah. Hey, it gets the job done. I get the shots I need. They look good. That's really what I care about.
Hey, Teppo Hapoya is still using the original, the OEM air. So
I don't use mine enough to like
right to say I'm gonna upgrade to another
yeah.
new drone.
At some point I will, but I don't use it enough. Plus I'm not channel's monetized now, so I need to go get that 107 if I want to continue to use it. So
I take all your drone shots right now, right?
And not to like say that I haven't used them, but Storyblocks has some really good drone footage in a lot of different locations that you probably are going to. If you're traveling, you're probably going to popular destinations, and they've no doubt got some footage of drones. So you can always use stuff like that if you need to. So that kind of just leaves us, Paul, to like recommended things that you don't always have to bring, and these are going to be case by case.
Yep.
Let's do the slide so you guys know what recommended. Travel recommended. Paul, do you want to take this one, or do you want to start with this one?
Travel recommended. You start with this one because I forget exactly what on our list.
Because I'm traveling to you, Paul, I want all of your footage that you take on the weekend so that I can bring some of that back home and find the shots that I need to find that I didn't get, or that you're shooting of me, or just like a secondary thing. It's going to be nice to have that stuff. And I don't want to get home and go, hey, Paul, do you have that shot of me? You do? Cool. Can you send that 8 gig file over internet to me? That's going to take 8 hours for you to upload and send to me.
Yeah,
Instead,
I think you might need a great SD card or an SSD to transfer off with.
So I always just bring, I know you too. Sorry, Paul. I always bring the Samsung 500 gig SSD card. This thing, what are these, like $80 now, Paul? Something like that.
They're really cheap. And actually right now on Amazon, if you were in the market for a good SSD, the Samsung T7 1 terabyte drive is on sale right now for $114.99. Normally it's like $170, so it's a pretty good discount. And you can get a full 1 terabyte, which is what I personally use for YouTube. It's funny, right now the T7 terabyte drive is cheaper than the 500 gigabyte drive. Right now, the 500 gigabyte drive is still at $120.
I mean, you can do that. I just recommend the 500 because normally it's cheaper. And like if you're traveling, you don't really need like a huge drive. If you need anything more than unless you're gone for like 3 months or something, you don't need crazy huge drives. So I just want to capture any of the footage that you get for the weekend on this, so I have more options later. You can do the same thing if you have a laptop with you and stuff like that. If you are bringing a laptop, make sure you have any correct devices like capture cards, any dongles or anything, unless you have those new Macs. I personally use like the Pro Grade UHS-2 reader. I'm not going to bring that because you have one, I'm sure, Paul, anyways. So
I actually, I'm going to have one, but
your laptop has a drive or something for it.
I have a little like 8 hub that has a built micro and an SD. I want to get the Pro Grade because it's faster, but it's like $80. But
I'm gonna bring this because it fits in my bag. It's tiny, and I'm gonna need it for any of the stuff we shoot. So the recommendeds too, I would recommend bringing something like that. I would recommend bringing like more SD cards than you think you need, because you never know, you might lose them.
Right.
One might fail. You might get there and go, crap, I forgot to format this one. Or you do what I do and you get there and you're like, this is like an entire SD card stuff that I don't want to record over. I need this because it's a video I recorded previously. So just like bring more than you think you need. That's just like always a good tip. I always bring like my AirPods and stuff too. Just like all those like extra things that you just forget to whatever.
You ever bring any portable lights?
Yeah, I would say recommend if you have any kind of light that you want to bring, like whether it's the Aperture MC or like the Wii light ones that me and Paul use. Sometimes you just need a key light. That gimbal actually has a light on it, Paul, so we're going to be good with that. But sometimes you get in those low lighting situations, especially with like the ZV-1, where you need some kind of like light. Otherwise, the camera's going to look awful because there's some cameras just aren't good at low light. So if you can fit something like that, or there's plenty of options out there. Just get something that you can have something where you can change the Kelvin temperature, because you don't want to go into an area that's all tungsten lights with a bright 56K light. It's going to
Right.
make you look blue. So, um, recommended stuff too, like just keep space in your bag for other things, or like you don't want to play Tetris so much to fit everything in your bag,
Yeah.
because then I've done that where you're like, I got everything exactly the way I want it. And then you take one thing out and you're on the move and you're like trying to stuff it back in your bag. And it's like, crap, I got to hold on, guys. I got to spend 5 minutes to reorganize this just to fit everything. I always don't like, that's why I say don't overpack, because like you need to make sure you have room to just throw something in real quick. And then one other thing that I would recommend, Paul, and this is kind of a little out there. If you guys are filming yourself a lot, I would highly recommend looking at the app called Monitor Plus. I don't know if it's not on Android. I know for sure it's on iOS. This thing, depending on if it actually hooks to your camera, I would check to make sure that is a function first. But what this does is it allows you to connect to your camera via Wi-Fi, and then it becomes your monitor for the camera. And it has a lot of cool options. Like you could put like different LUTs in there, so you can like see what your S-Log footage looks like with your LUT in post. You can put your different aspect ratios to see what it would look like if you're filming with black bars. There's all these cool features you can do and check your white balance from your phone on the
Absolutely.
top. And what I do a lot is like sometimes you'll set up a camera, you'll go away, and like you're like you're trying to see your screen from 20 feet away, you can't see it. Now
Right.
you can just look at your phone and go, okay. And then cool thing is it's got all these functions like tap to focus. So I can be like, I want to focus on me. Now it's gonna track me from 20 feet away, and then I can hit record, put the camera in my pocket, and then go on with the video, because you could control the camera with your phone. If you guys need to look at it, just go watch Chris Brockhurst. He has a really good video on this. He
Very.
kind of like broke that like out. I mean, I'm sure people did videos on it, but like most people first saw that app from Chris's video. So, and then I actually just bought like one of these like swivel mounts and like a cell phone holder, because sometimes I actually like putting it on top of the camera and like turning it down, so that way when you're doing like cool cinematic stuff, you can just look at that. And especially when I put that like S-Log 3 LUT into the thing, you can see what it's going to look like, and you could stop worrying about, am I plus 1.7 over on my exposure? You can just look down at the screen and go, yep, this looks good. This is perfect. So Monitor Plus, go check it out. It's like, I think the app is free unless you want to unlock a couple features, which I just paid the $20 or whatever it was. It was worth it to me. It's as good. I personally think it's as good as like my actual external monitors. So, and you're using your cell phone, and it's a remote. That's the cool thing. It's way better than Sony Imaging Edge. So
It is, yes. Hands down.
but you're traveling and you're filming yourself. That's a really good tool to like get your composition and like set recording, and you can change all your settings too. You can change your ISO and aperture, and it's a really cool app. And Paul, I don't know if you downloaded it yet, but
I have not. It's on my list. I definitely. It was really cool. I saw it first on. I think Chris Brockhurst did a video on it, and then I saw. Then when you came down and I saw it in person, so very very useful tool, for sure. And the nice thing about it is it's pretty much a full out monitor, and it's on something that you carry around with you every day anyway. So then you always have a monitor to use for your camera externally. So that's pretty cool.
mm-hmm. But yeah,
And just so you guys know, who the people who are still here, or you're looking later, all the links for everything for a lot of the things we discussed here tonight is I've been adding in as we've been talking about them down in the description below. At least for my channel, maybe I think Kyle will just I'll send him all the links, or and he'll add him in his channel later.
Yeah, and this video, like our intentions with this video is clearly not to get you to go just buy this crap, because that's not where I'm traveling down to Florida, and I just wanted to, like, we were gonna just say pack pack bags with me while I get my stuff ready together, and I'll show you what
A
I
live
do.
stream pack that probably would have been pretty cool actually.
But I just kind of wanted to explain like what to do with you when you're packing, and like why you would do it, and like there's a lot of things you want to think about when you're doing it, so you don't just go somewhere. Like I've done it too many times where you travel and you just got way too much crap. I went to Mexico with a 36-pound bag and it sucked. And it's the
And-
only one I brought. So
And a shameless plug here, not really, but it's our channel. We're gonna be, since he's be coming down, I'm not sure what we're gonna do. We might live stream like together again when we're here together, just because we'll be in this, we can have the opportunity to be in the same room, or we might be like on the go on our phones, maybe doing like a quick Q&A live stream on Instagram. So if you want to stay up to date with what's going on this weekend, because we'll be probably posting Instagram stories and stuff on our social media, go follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and just, maybe hit the notification if you want to know when we're going to be posting stuff this weekend, because we're going to get together and we have no idea exactly what the schedule is currently, but
yeah.
we're still working on that and figuring out what we're going to do. But we're going to be doing something most likely this weekend because he'll be down here. So
if you guys need to like get my attention on Instagram right now too, like message me. Paul, I just got added, like, the Mirrorless Geeks, they're like Instagram. They post like, like camera, basically it's like camera porn all the time. Like they put awesome pictures of cameras. They used one of mine, but they added me as like there's a new feature where you can add people as like a sub creator or something like that. And what it does is it puts it, if they post it, it puts it on my page as well. So I've been getting all the notifications anytime someone likes that picture. And they have like, a couple 100,000 followers. So
is that the
I
one
can't-
that was posted of your Sigma lens?
well, they did that purple picture too with the A7S III. So like
Yeah,
right now, my
with
Instagram
the
is such a
Sigma lens on it. Yeah.
yeah, my Instagram is such a mess right now. It only shows me like 100 notifications at once. So if like anyone's been commenting or anything like that, I'm not seeing any of it because it's like it's just flooded with all this other Instagram handles, like their followers.
Wow.
So I like it's like flattering, but it sucks because you open it and you're like, I can't like see anything of my stuff right now. It's all just coming from them. So hopefully it'll like taper off a little bit so I can actually like see my Instagram again. But it's now when I know what it's like to see when you have like 200,000-300,000 followers on an Instagram handle, what craziness that brings. So
wow.
no, thank you. So yeah, message me if you guys need to like comment or anything like that so I can actually see it. But yeah, we'll definitely be. I Instagram. I'm like editing on the fly on Lightroom. Like when we were at Disney, I posted like 6 pictures last time, and they're all edited in Lightroom. And I'm so quick at like you create all these like
Lightroom mobile, man.
Oh man, I'm creating like presets on the go and just like putting them on the next picture. Oops, send. Because I like being connected while you're doing something, and then people get to see the like aftermath like a week later on, or in my case like a month later on your video. So
Eddie Nunez says he vlogs with a 1DX. He says he says we need to get some muscles.
Yeah, no, I don't even think Peter McKinnon wants to vlog with that camera anymore. That thing's a tank.
And he says that he says that you need an Air 2S, which I'd like to have one if somebody wanted to give me one. So if you're offering, Eddie, we can always give you his shipping address and you can send him one if you really want.
I would love to have the Air 2S. That would be the one I would get. It's a good price range, I think. Still, it looks incredible.
It looks as good or maybe even better in some ways than the Mavic Pro 2, and it's compact and looks great. Yeah, so I'd say that's the drone that I was looking at. Yeah.
It's got a lot of really cool like auto flying modes too, which is nice. It's got those like master cinemas, and I know that you don't use them a lot, but like sometimes you don't have time. There's some cool shots. You can throw it up in the air and just get some awesome pre-made shots and find a way to make it work in your editing. So
yeah,
that one looks really cool. I do want that one. There's a lot of other things I want to spend $1,000 on first that I would use more. So
right. So I think that really rounds us up. We went on for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes extra night, but that's all right. Every once in a while we gotta have an extended one. Maybe next time we'll have a live camera packing of him packing his bag, or maybe he'll do that live. Maybe he'll just if you follow him on Instagram, maybe he'll be doing a live video or something while he's packing for Florida. I don't know, but go follow him on Instagram. Go follow us, and do all the fun YouTube things. Subscribe, hit those like buttons on both Kyle and I's channel. And if you haven't subscribed to both of us, do it, because we both very similar styles. He's obviously a little better than me, but I'm getting there. So, anyways, do all the fun YouTube things. We'll see you guys later.
Later.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! One shot for the kill, the breeze cut, freeze up, straight dropping the kills. I'm talking taking over pieces and shares, a bomb break sky high, check the movement is here, yeah. It's one hard, one